Oh, this is gonna be crazy. That was great. Hello everyone, and welcome today to another episode of SpraynPray1000's Verdict. I am SpraynPray1000, and today we will be reviewing Grand Theft Auto 5. Okay, now one thing I should say right before I start is if you hear drilling, as they're doing as soon as I say that, I apologize ahead of time. They are doing some kind of construction work or something on my building, and I can't do anything about it. At least today they notified me that they would be, drilling on the building, so that's a plus, although, it's still, you're still going to hear drilling occasionally. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's loud. So I apologize ahead of time. And it's going to also affect me keeping my train of thought. But anyway, today we are going to talk about Grand Theft Auto 5. And I guess it's safe to say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is probably the biggest video game in the history of gaming. And I say that because it has the biggest budget of any known video game ever created, clocking in at just over $265 million went into this game. On top of that, just the quality of the gameplay, just the feel of the game when you sit down and you play this game for a little bit. It's just amazing. So definitely right here, we have probably what could be considered the best representation of what we can do on the 7th generation of consoles. And in fact, this is the perfect way to end the 7th generation, because in a month, or a month and a half, November 15th, you got the PS4 rolling out, you got the Xbox One rolling out a week later, if you live in the United States. I don't know about international. And then you'll be in full swing. You'll have Nintendo's Wii U, you'll have Sony's PS4 and Microsoft's Xbox One, and then all the other little consoles coming in after that. So, what exactly is Grand Theft Auto 5, okay? Grand Theft Auto 5 is a third-person shooter, open-world, free-roam game, where basically your goal is to commit crimes, do missions for various characters, and the goal in this game is try and basically complete the story and accrue a lot of money, okay? And the way this game does it is you have to do 6 or so heists to basically steal money, and you get so rich towards the end of the game, and that's the goal of the game. You have these characters who want to get really rich. So they say, hey, we're going to steal a whole bunch of money and, basically keep it for ourselves. Now, this GTA is unique among all other GTA games because you have 3 different playable characters. And Rockstar, came out, or whoever developed this game, Rockstar North, I guess, they came out and they said, these 3 characters are going to be unlike any other characters you've ever seen in a Grand Theft Auto game. First of all, I actually have to kind of agree with them with that. First of all, you have Michael, and this is going to be spoiler free, obviously, but I'm just going to say what everyone knows, the public information without actually having to open the game. You have Michael, who is basically a family man, an old bank robber. Well, not too old. He's, like in his late 40s or 50s or something, and he's already pretty much retired. He's living comfortably with his family, but, he gets involved with the other 2 characters. Franklin, a younger criminal who wants to get involved in some bigger activity in order to make more money. And Trevor, Michael's longtime friend, gets brought back into the picture. And pretty much the main aspect of this game is that you have these 3 playable characters. Each one of them is different in various ways, different stats that you can then increase. And I guess they all max out at the end and it doesn't matter anymore. They're different characters. They have different things they like to do. And the biggest addition is that you can jump into any of these characters pretty much at any time during free roam, and even at some points during missions. So, for example, there might be a mission, and everyone saw this mission. Everyone was all over this mission. There's a mission earlier on in the game that was demoed also, outside of the game as well, where you had Trevor flying a helicopter, Michael jumping into a building, filled with government agents to retrieve a hostage, and Franklin on a rooftop far away providing sniper support. And then pretty much, at any point in the mission, you can jump between the 3 characters and basically, let's say you're not too good at sniping and you're better at flying a vehicle, well, go ahead and play as Trevor and, do your flying. Or let's say, you're not good at sniping or flying a vehicle, play as Michael. Michael's just in the chopper gunning other people down, just like that kind of stuff where each character is doing his or her own thing that really makes a difference. And, that's really fun gameplay. Now, of course, not every mission is like that. Some missions are just one character only. A good amount of the missions are 2 characters. You switch between 2 characters. And one of the big things about these characters is, not only do they have these diverse gameplay segments, but also these characters, they have keeping my eye on the time here. All these characters, they pretty much have their own, like, what do you want to call it? Like, special abilities. So, for example, Franklin, Franklin's ability is that he, while driving a car, can slow down time and increase the responsiveness of his car. Hopefully that can, like, save you from a nasty accident, or it can help you make a split-second turn that otherwise your car wouldn't be able to handle. And it's not just, a time slowdown mechanic. It's actually his car becomes more responsive. So, at some points your wheels might be off the ground. If you press the sticks, which activates the ability, your wheels will snap back to the ground almost instantly, and you'll be able to, like, do very precise driving, which is very helpful in this game. Not only to mention that, but the cars also control way better in this game than all the other GTA games. And while I'm talking about things they've improved, if you watch my GTA 4 playthrough, which was a hot mess, I said, oh, the cars feel like shit. Oh, the gunplay feels very weird and, like, very blocky and not very well fleshed out, you know what I mean, compared to some of the other games of the time. And you have the cover system, which I just completely didn't use because it was just horrible in my opinion. And, in this game, I hate to say it. Well, I love to say it. Well, I hate to say it because it puts GTA 4 to shame, but I love to say it because it puts GTA 5 up. Basically every single, like, gameplay problem I had in GTA 4 was resolved in GTA 5, okay? The gameplay of this game has been polished to a mirror shine. The detail is what really gets me in this game, you know what I mean? The attention to even the smallest things really, really pays off in this game. And it's just like, you have flip-flops in your feet that will actually flip-flop. Thank you to Surge32 for, giving me that exact quote. You have all this minor little stuff that actually really does happen, in the game. So it feels so, like, lifelike in a sense. You have people who are walking by, they're talking on their cell phones. You got street lights. I remember some games, earlier on used to have street lights that would just flash like yellow, and, it was weird and stuff. Not here. I don't even think GTA 4 did that. I'm just giving an example. So you have, like, all this cool stuff, like all this real attention to detail that's just so amazing. And that just, when you're talking about the single player of this game, because obviously I'm not doing a review on the multiplayer, at least not yet, and I don't know if I ever could do a review on the multiplayer. Right now I'm just talking about the single player. When you have all this attention to detail, it really helps with the immersiveness, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these games, like Lost Odyssey and Deus Ex, like, the reasons I like them a lot as video games is because they're immersive as hell. You really feel like you're getting into the game, and that's what I like about a game. When you actually, that doesn't mean you have to know that a game is, realistic or something. That increases enjoyability. But it's when you can really, like, feel yourself like, yeah, you're a part of this universe. Either you're playing directly as this character, or you're a spectator in this epic drama. Like, I like that feeling. That's the immersiveness of a game is one of the better aspects of the game. That's what I think should be one of the more important ones. So that's why I put, of course they're drilling right now, so I can't even think. It's actually appearing on the waveforms, which is not good. But, just having that feeling is just really good. So, the other thing that they've added is, they've not, in GTA 4, you pretty much, drove helicopters, cars of varying specs, I think there were motorcycles occasionally or something like that. They have that in GTA 5, but they've improved upon that. Now you can drive, like, what is that? At one point, you drive a train, there's submarines, the seafloor is fully detailed, there's stuff. It's just like, the attention to detail again, and then you have like planes and jets and stuff you can fly, and then all the recreational activities. Here we go. Here's a big one. I know I didn't talk about the abilities of the other two characters. They're pretty much like synonymous with each other. They slow down time to a certain extent, and then they, you know, Trevor soaks up damage a lot, and Michael just slows down time like Max Payne. There you have it. Those are the abilities. But the like the recreational activities, they are everywhere. Now, some of them are character specific. A lot of stuff in this game is character specific, like buying property, doing races and stuff. But there's a lot of it, okay? So there's what do you call it? Base jumping, or what is it? Wherever parachute diving there is, I'm not sure what the term is right now. You also have shit, it's gonna be hard to name even a good portion of them. You have golf, you have triathlons, you have races, you know, in cars, races on motorcycles. You have bail bond hunting, you have buying property, you have golf, you have tennis, you have, did I say swimming? I think I said swimming already. You have, you know, just so many, you know, like repoing cars. It's just like there's so much stuff to do in this game. You know, even though on my playthrough, even though I did like, what was it, like 60-some% of the game, there's still a whole bunch of crap out there that I haven't done yet, and it's just amazing. You know, there's stocks, there's an in-game stock market that you can actually interact, you know, and use and buy stocks on. You know, there's just so much to be done, man, and it's just, again, it's a parody of American culture, so obviously some people are going to be offended. You know, I wasn't offended at all by, you know, any of the Hispanic or any of the black stereotypes, but some people will be, so I'm just going to give you guys fair warning right now. There's going to be some moments where you might feel, you know, if you're a member of these races, or if you hate racism, you know, or if you hate, you know, stereotypical stuff, you're not going to feel too at home with this game. You know, they throw around a lot of offensive language in this game. You know, and while it does add to the realism of the game, you know, the immersiveness, again, you know, like this is real life, you know, if you don't want to be exposed to that, you're probably looking at the wrong game. But if, you know, you don't mind it, or you're a proponent of that, you're probably going to feel right at home with this game, you know, especially for me. You know, I sat down, I beat this game in 5 days. I went to the midnight launch, I sat down, I played the beginning of the game, and I played it pretty much for 4 hours until I basically said, you know what, I'm about to fall asleep in my chair, I can't play anymore. And, you know, it's just that good, you know, sitting down and playing the story, you know, for me, because I like playing the story in games, you know, oftentimes more so than the multiplayer. You know, for me, it was just that, it just felt really great, you know, sitting down and playing this great story. You know, and again, I said in GTA 4, the only reason I even still played GTA 4 at the end was just for the story. Because at the end, I was like, I don't care about this gameplay. This gameplay is, like, subpar. You know, it's just like, if you die on a mission, you have to restart the whole mission. You don't get refunded your armor. You don't get refunded your ammo that you used. You know, sometimes you could fail for the dumbest things. So, like, your AI teammate would pretty much sit in cover for about 2 minutes or so, you know, taking shots, and then they would just run into the battlefield, and then they would get gunned down, and that would be your fault. And I just said, again, at one point, I rage quit GTA 4. I said, fuck this, man, I'm not going to play this game. And I came back on my playthrough, and I beat it. You know, that was on my personal playthrough where I said, I don't want to play this anymore. You know, and I was getting closer to the end, too. On GTA 5, this game makes use of checkpointing, which is great. You know, this is the kind of stuff that was, I felt helped out Red Dead, helped out LA Noire. You know, I like that. I like that when you have a checkpoint, so if something happens, you know, because these games are glitchy. You know, like at one point I tried to steal a car and it got stuck between the stairs and a lamppost, and I basically got shot to death because I needed to escape with said car. You know, at one point, you know, I said, okay, you know, it's fine that they have checkpoints, but also what they do is, if you beat the mission without using a checkpoint, a lot of times that helps your rating. It helps you get a better rating or a better ranking on a certain criteria. So, for example, a lot of missions, they bring back what they did in the Ballad of Gay Tony, which was that GTA 4 expansion. I think they did this in other games too, like LA Noire, I believe. If you fulfill certain criteria during a mission, you get a better ranking. So, like, for example, a mission might be, you know, okay, you drive here, you shoot up a bunch of people, you steal something, you try and return it someplace, and you lose the cops. Well, you know, there might be bonus mission criteria such as beating the mission in a certain time, and, you know, having a certain accuracy, or so many headshots, or, you know, you do like 1 or 2 cool things during the mission, like you know, that kind of stuff. And if you use a checkpoint, it does invalidate you for some of that, but that's okay. You know, if you just want to beat the mission, you know, and then come back later and do it, that's that helps out. You know, you're not bound into like, you know, having to replay it, drive over here. Also, you can choose to replay missions at any time from the cell phone. So again, they've just done so much to improve some of the flaws of GTA 4, and it just, you know, it's hard to find stuff that I don't like about this game. You know, I sat down, I played this game, and I really enjoyed it. This game was fun as hell. You know, it was really thought out. Obviously, you know, they did a lot of cool stuff in this game. There's a variety of missions. It feels like, you know, all the stuff that they've been doing with Red Dead and LA Noire and Max Payne, you know, they've been pulling like the best of the best from every single one of those games, you know, piling it into the GTA universe. And right now, you know, it's like this game is like probably one of, you know, you know, there's some bugs, but this game is probably one of the best open world games I've ever played in my life. You know what I mean? You know, there's just so much unique stuff to do, and you know, the story is very, you know, very enamoring. You know, it's easy to get drawn in. Now, unfortunately, there's some stuff that I don't like. You know, there's some stuff that really didn't hit too home with me. Like, for example, you know, they kind of do the same thing that happened in GTA 4, except now the cops look for you longer, which is fine on one hand, but on the other hand, they still do the annoying thing where the cops still spawn in front of you. So you'll be driving down a two-way street, and the cops will just spawn in front of you, driving towards you, and what can you do to get away from them without being seen? You know, there's railings on both sides, or you're in a tunnel. That's it. You know, the circle is just going to reset. That being said, they did improve the cop hunting mechanic. When cops hunt for you now, they actually, if they can't see you, it's not like they have that circle thing anymore from GTA 4, where if you were in the circle, you were still on a wanted level. If the cops can't see you for so long, they go into search mode. And basically, then it turns into like a Metal Gear style stealth game, where the cops are on the radar, you know, they're driving around, and they have these cones of vision that you can see on the radar, and you know, the cops are like actually looking for you, and if they see you, then that resumes the chase. But if they can't, you know, they're going to keep looking for you until they give up, which is a long time in this game, but you know, it's better than nothing. And like, even if you're inside the cone, if you're hidden, you know, sufficiently enough behind something, then, you know, they won't be able to see you. So you can hide in like alleyways, you know, if you slip into them and they don't see you. You can hide in, you know, the AI is just good, but it's also, you can trick it. So that's also another good thing I like. The other thing I will say, though, is that some of this stuff, like stealth, like the stealth stat never really gets used too much, although it's nice to have a stealth ability in this game, and it works pretty well. You know, you never really use it. And I feel, you know, there aren't a lot of missions that really emphasize stealth too much. I mean, maybe some of the combat missions have a less obvious stealth route. And the stealth does work. It's just, to me, feels like, you know, trying to max out stealth would be a real pain in the ass. Because, you know, there's not too many opportunities with which to use it. Oh, let me go ahead and talk about graphics while I'm trying to remember some of the other stuff. The graphics of this game are definitely almost feel like next gen. Okay, it feels like we're actually playing a PS4 or Xbox One title right now on your Xbox 360 or PS3. Just looking at this game, and then looking at GTA 4, okay, on the Xbox 360. You know, look at GTA 4, which was what, 5-6 years ago ish, give or take. Now look at what we've done in that 5 or 6 years, you know what I mean? Look at the games that have come out since then, and now look at GTA 5, its real successor. It's almost like they're two different consoles, just looking at the cars and looking at everything, you know. It really does feel like, you know, first I said this with Heavy Rain, you know, when Heavy Rain came out, I was like, you know, I don't have a PS4 yet, or a PS3 at that time, but that game looks really good. Like, look at the graphics on it. Look, it's almost photorealistic. I can kind of say the same thing here. You know what I mean? Although I think some games do graphics a little better than GTA 5. GTA 5 has, like, more than just person graphics, you know, and just looking at that game in general looks amazing. Also, the other thing is, the game loads significantly faster than GTA 4. You know, if you were driving in GTA 4, you know, speeding down one of the big Manhattan alleys or avenues, you know, the game would kind of like unload a lot of the textures on the buildings. Not so much as like block form, you know what I mean, like Play-Doh, but it would unload a lot of it, and, you know, it would just, you know, when you slowed down, you know, the game would be like, okay, I can finally load some of this stuff. And in this game, I don't really see that problem happening as much, you know what I mean? Now, I'll take a drink while I'm here, so I don't, you know, exactly get dehydrated or anything. Another thing that I didn't like, you know, that is the jumping system that I just actually talked about, where you can jump into various characters. A lot of times, you might be trying to like actually do something with a character, you know what I mean? And I just feel that while this is a good system, I think that they could have taken a lesson from, a game like Pikmin 3, as ironic as it's going to sound. And I know some people might get pissed off at that, but hear me out, okay? In Pikmin 3, what you could do is you could order certain people to go to certain places. I just wish they had an ability like that in this game. It'd be very, very time-saving. Not having to drive across the vast open world. You could just say to a character, hey, go here, and when they're there, you can just jump to them, and then you can just go ahead and do something. That's just a little minor thing. Another thing that I don't like is sometimes, like, especially when you're jumping into Trevor, because Trevor likes to cause trouble with the law, you can jump into Trevor, and he'll, like, one time I saw him in a car chase, I think at a GameStop. He was in the middle of a car chase with police officers. Another time, I was actually, planning to do a Trevor mission, and I jump into Trevor, and he's busy, getting into a fight with a bunch of bodybuilders, and then the cops showed up, and I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, I don't want, I didn't ask for this, and you can't jump out of someone once, they have a wanted level, which is especially screwed up, because if you're jumping into someone who has a wanted level, you can't leave them until they die, get busted, or, something happens, or you evade the cops. So I just said, that's kind of lame, that you can jump into someone, and they'll be like, getting into a scenario when I just want to go ahead and do something else. I don't want to necessarily get involved with this, and I can't jump out and have him take care of it himself, considering it's a situation he brought on himself. Although it is pretty cool, that these characters are doing stuff with their lives while, you're playing as one of them and the other two are off doing whatever. It's not like they're just sitting around waiting for you to call on them. They're actually doing other stuff. So, like, Michael might be out, I don't know, getting a drink. I'm just, exaggerating right now. I'm not actually sure if they can do this. But they can, because there's a wide variety of stuff. While Franklin might be, chilling at home, and Trevor might be out in the desert doing whatever, it's just like all that kind of stuff. So, winding down here, the soundtrack of this game is pretty good, although I still think the radio does the exact same thing it does in GTA 4, where it never really plays songs, proportionately. So, like, for example, I was trying to get what was the song called? Lady, Hear Me Tonight. I was trying to get that to play on the radio. I was constantly camping on that one radio station, and unfortunately, it never popped like beyond like part 50 or something. It never played again. And I was kind of disappointed, because I like that song a lot. And it's just unfortunately they did kind of the same thing with GTA 4 of a lot of the music in that. But that's that's because the radio is always playing, so it's likely while I'm in a mission or while I'm not in a car, unfortunately, I won't get to hear that song. And what else is there that I could kind of think of? I think that the story of this game is a bit weaker than GTA 4. I think GTA 4 was more of an involved story. You know what I mean? I think that for the most part, what I said and what Vault Dweller and I said about this game was going to come true pretty much did come true. At the cost of having a really in-depth, really well-done, really nicely tied-in story about one character. They kind of had 3 separate stories that really were fleshed out, but not too much. Like, not the way that Nico's story was. I think that Nico, his story was fleshed out very nicely. It was a lot. Yeah, the game was long. GTA 4 was 103 parts doing the main story. GTA 5 was 128, and there's about 40 less missions, but, there's other stuff to do as well. Just traveling also adds a lot of time onto that. And I feel that, a lot of the characters, like, especially Franklin, I think Franklin has a lot of unresolved, like, loose ends, you know what I mean, that I wish I could, like, really work on. And maybe they're in there, but, I mean, they're not really tied in and not really bound to the main story. They're not as, integral into the character as Nico's story was. Nico, you had, what am I trying to say? A number of choices throughout the game where you could choose to like either spare someone and kill another person, and it really adds like the sense, your idea of who Nico is as a person, you know what I mean? And even just the ending, just the idea of both the endings in that game, you know what I mean? It's really like, while you play this game, yeah, you could just go around shooting people and that's it, but if you really want to look at the story, look deeper into the story, you have this character, who's trying to, who comes to pretty much America, and he's trying to get rid of this past that seems to follow him, this past of killing and wronging people, and not doing the right thing, or letting the right thing just slip away. He comes to America to try and make something better of himself, and his past seems to follow him. And what you do in that game really does seem, whether he embraces his past, or whether he can escape from it, or whatever happens in that game. In this game I don't get that feeling. I get the feeling like there's just three guys, they're doing stuff. At some points, the story might take a little bit of a dark turn, but for the most part, well, not too dark anyway. For the most part, the game is just, safe. It plays along a certain line of tracks, and while this track, is pretty much made of gold and diamonds, it's not the same kind of uniqueness that I liked from GTA 4, you know what I mean? There's also some mechanics I feel that Sleeping Dogs did better. I know Sleeping Dogs has nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto, other than the fact that they're open world games about crime, but I will say this, even though Sleeping Dogs is terminally short, and that's probably the worst part about it, there was a lot of good stuff that they did in that game. I think that game is, to an extent, more polished in a lot of ways than GTA 4. I think that the gunplay was very well done, the driving was very well done, because in this game, what they do is, it's very weird. You have Franklin, who's really good at driving, and then you have Michael, who's really good at shooting. But on some missions, these characters will be doing things that are completely out of their character and don't cater to their special abilities. So, for example, one mission, you have both Franklin and Michael, okay? And we all know Franklin's the driver, you know what I mean? He has the driving ability that slows down time and increases the responsiveness of the car in question. And you also have Michael, whose ability slows down time, and you can shoot, you shoot better. It's easier to hit enemies, because they're in slow motion, and you're not, because you're in real life. And in this mission, you have Michael driving and Franklin shooting, and it's like, what the fuck are they thinking? Like, why would they do that? You know what I mean? And they kind of do this in some of the other missions. It's just like, why would you do that and, completely bend a character backwards, out of shape, into a role that he's not meant for? You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. And it's not that it's horrible and it completely destroys the game. It's just, little annoyances. So I'm going to wrap this up now, because this is turning out to be a long review, but it deservingly, because this game is the most expensive gaming project of all time, probably one of the biggest games of all time, most hyped games of all time. Everyone knows about GTA 5. Everyone's going to play GTA 5. And it's just, it deserves it. And this game deserves the score I'm going to give it. I think they did a really, really good job. As I try and find the folder that has the score in it. What would I give Grand Theft Auto 5? I would give Grand Theft Auto 5 a 97 out of 100. And it is a must-buy, okay? So on the buy, rent, wait, sell, or skip category that I'm trying to implement, I say that if you want a really good game, you want a really big open world game, you go out there and you buy Grand Theft Auto 5, and you will not be disappointed. Because not only is there the story, which is what I'm rating here, but there's also GTA Online, which I'm not rating here. So, and it has really solid gameplay. And if you've been a Rockstar fan, you're already gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, most people pretty much know if they're gonna buy this game or not. But for those of you who aren't, for whatever various reason, just, I would say play the demo, but I don't think there is a demo, because they know that it's pretty much going to sell based on, the name brand alone. So, in any event, they did a great job with this game, Rockstar, and it's going to be pretty hard for anyone to really try and top this game, you know what I mean? Top the free roaming aspect, just top, in general, the stuff about this game. I think it's going to be really difficult. I think that they did a lot of stuff in this game, and it pretty much, like, this is the pinnacle of what we can do with games right now, I guess, on these consoles, you know what I mean? Because no one has really even come close to this before, combining all this stuff together. Like, yeah, I might say, some games have better gameplay aspects in a couple categories, but no game really hits as many categories as GTA 5 does. So, without a doubt, definitely one of the better games I've played on my channel. And there's still more of it to come. There might be DLC to add to this game, you know what I mean? There might be more stuff, more bonus content. So, who knows what's going to go on? I certainly don't. I'm SpraynPray1000. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys later. So, thanks for watching. Stupid thing. Stupid pooch. Oh, good! I got him! Ha! Look at this!
I know this is weird for all of us.
Okay!
gonna make a batshit crazy lady
What the
very
fuck?